So, what really makes for a good life? We're often told that it's all about money, about economic growth. That's the key to happiness. But today we're going to dig into some really fascinating research that shows the story is way more complicated than that. It turns out there's a kind of hidden ingredient, something crucial that helps us turn our opportunities into actual well-being.
All right, let's jump right in with a big question that's been a real head-scratcher for economists for decades. I mean, it seems logical, right? As a country gets richer, its people should get happier. More resources, better services, it just makes sense. But when you actually look at the data, it tells a completely different and, honestly, a much more confusing story.
And this puzzle actually has a name. It's called the Easterlin Paradox. Just look at the US, for example. Between 1970 and 2001, the economy just boomed. The GDP more than doubled. That's huge. But when researchers asked people how they felt about their quality of life, well, the needle barely moved. So if all that national wealth isn't the answer, what on earth are we missing?
To find that missing piece, researchers had to shift their focus. They looked past the big national economies and zoomed right in on the individual. They started asking, what are the personal tools that each of us uses to build a life we value?
And they landed on this really powerful concept called capability. Think of it like a personal toolkit. It's not just the cash in your wallet, it's the whole shebang. Your education, your skills, the opportunities you have access to, and this is the really crucial part, the freedom to actually use all those things to create a life that you find meaningful.
Now on the surface, the theory seems pretty simple, doesn't it? The more tools you have in your toolkit, the more capability you have, the better your quality of life should be. More opportunities should mean more happiness. That's the simple, intuitive idea this study decided to put to the test.
But, and this is where things get really interesting, when the researchers actually analyzed the data, that simple idea just completely fell apart. They found out that the link between having opportunities and having a good life depends almost entirely on one single massive factor: poverty.
The results were just night and day. For people living above the poverty line, the theory worked perfectly. More capability, more opportunities led straight to a better quality of life. But for those below the poverty line, that connection just vanished. Poof. Simply having more skills or chances had no significant effect on their well-being. It was like the bridge between potential and happiness was completely washed out.
So this leads to a huge question, right? If having opportunities isn't enough on its own for people experiencing poverty, then what is the missing piece? What is the special ingredient that can actually build that bridge between having the tools for a better life and, well, actually achieving it?
The study offers an answer, and it's not another economic factor. It's something internal, a powerful psychological trait: grit.
So what exactly is grit? Well, you can think of it as a combination of two things: perseverance and passion. It's that fire in your belly that makes you stick with your long-term goals. It's the stamina to keep pushing forward, even when you're dealing with setbacks, with failures, with all the challenges life throws your way. It's about not giving up.
Okay, so here's how all the pieces fit together. You start with your capability. That's your potential, your toolkit. Your goal, way over on the other side, is a better quality of life. This study argues that grit is the engine right in the middle. It's what takes that potential and actually turns it into action, into a real result. And this, right here, is probably the most powerful finding in the whole study. For people above the poverty line, opportunities can improve their life directly, and grit just gives things an extra boost. But for those below the poverty line, that direct path completely disappears. The only way for capability to improve their well-being is through grit. It's not just helpful anymore, it becomes the essential, irreplaceable bridge. This changes everything.
Okay, so we've got this incredible academic insight. But let's be real. What do we do with it? How does this translate into the real world? And why should any of us really care?
Well, it matters a ton, across the board. For policymakers, it's a giant flashing sign saying, look beyond GDP. We need to foster conditions that build both opportunities and the psychological resilience to use them. For our schools, it means we can actually design programs that don't just teach facts, but that build perseverance. For businesses, creating a gritty culture can seriously improve employee well-being and performance. And for you and me, it's a powerful reminder. Grit is the personal trait that helps us turn our chances into real, lasting change.
If you take away just one thing from all this, let it be this simple idea. It's not just about the opportunities you're given in life. What truly shapes the outcome is the perseverance, the grit that you bring to those opportunities.
This research really offers a profound new way to think about well-being, poverty, and what it truly takes to thrive. If you're as fascinated by this as I am and want to dive deeper into the data behind these findings, you can read the full study right at the link on your screen.